Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. The Walrus and the Comic.
All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Walrus and the Comic Sports Report. Brett, it was a crazy week for sports this week. Where do you want to get started?
I know how much you hate NASCAR. Did you watch the Daytona 500?
So I didn't watch the race at all until I heard about the big accident that happened. So I saw effectively the last lap.
I watched some of it, and I missed the wreck and everything. But I went back and watched it, and I think like a lot of people thought, it killed the man. Like you see car go upside down, and as it's upside down, a car hits him, and it looks like it hits him in the head. It looks like the car hits him right in the head. It's like it kills him. And you know what I thought? From the reactions I saw on Facebook and everything, like throughout the night, I felt like people.
So that girl that sells drugs, she sells worn panty sets, apparently. You want to buy some?
I'll look it up.
To her under OnlyFans.
I'll look it up after this.
Do you want to restart it?
No. I am
go with it.
Intrigued. I thought people wanted to see him dead.
Yeah?
I thought people wanted tragedy.
Now, why would you even think that?
Because all evening on Facebook, like after he got in the wreck, it was a bunch of, this is horrible, this is hard. Like I saw one person say, yeah, I saw him giving him CPR, like getting him out of the car. They were giving him CPR. It don't look good, buddy. And everybody's like, don't say that, man. Oh, they were sharing pictures of his family, sharing pictures of him, saying this is exactly what happened when Dale Earnhardt got in his wreck. This is exactly, it's happening again, blah, 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 blah. And then the report finally I think it was about midnight, 11:30, you get the report that is serious but non-life-threatening injuries. And it didn't feel like a relief to everybody. Like you didn't see a bunch of thank God. You didn't see a bunch of it turned out good. Like the mood after it was announced that he was going to be fine was kind of like, oh.
Actually, to say that, like, because I was on social media a lot that night, and I also agree with you where I saw so many, oh my gosh, we got to pray for this guy. OMG, this is the worst wreck I've ever seen. OMG, like, how could this happen? But whenever the news actually broke, and I think it was at 11 o'clock, because I was watching ESPN Sports Center, and they came out and said that non-life-threatening injuries. I didn't really see any follow-up social media posts talking about, what a relief. I maybe saw 5 to 10, whereas the post before about, like, got to pray for God, he's a horrible wreck, I saw probably like 100 of them. Yeah. And so I definitely get that. I think the memory of 19 years ago, Dale Earnhardt Sr. having that horrific wreck. Now, I don't know about you. I actually remember that wreck. Growing up, my family, we were huge NASCAR fans, which might be why I don't like NASCAR really to this day, because every Sunday we had to watch the race. I remember watching Dale Earnhardt die in that race. I remember seeing my dad, who was one of the biggest NASCAR fans I've ever known, just look like he was crying because all he could say was, it's just like when Davey Allison died, which happened way before that. And it was a helicopter crash actually that took his life before before the race. And I think it sounds morbid, but I think NASCAR needed the wreck to happen. I think they needed Ryan Newman not to make it out of that, just for popularity.
What it take? Get out of here. What it take?
What conspiracy?
What a conspiracy. I'm not going to say.
Listen. All right, listen. I know it's very controversial. It's not a popular stance to take, but think about this. NASCAR's been struggling financially.
Shouldn't they be?
Yeah, all they do is ride around in a circle. What better way to get ratings than some massive crash that takes out one of your more popular races?
Feels this way.
What?
WWE storytelling.
That Vince McMahon's limo blew up.
Yeah.
Come back next Monday night to see what happens. Oh, no.
But didn't people tune into that though?
Yeah.
People tuned into the limo blowing up, and then people came back next week, and ratings were probably higher than they had ever been for a period of a few weeks. Listen,
Maybe we need one of the Hart brothers to crash.
Tragedy.
Hey, Ron to crash.
Tragedy brews controversy. Tragedy brews ratings, and tragedy brings in money.
That I am not talking about whether or not it would be good for sport. What I was just saying was I felt like fans. I like what you did with it. I like where you took it, and we'll stay. I like it. I just thought it was a letdown for the fans. I don't.
In the same way, in the same way it was a letdown.
Felt like a
listen to me, bro. In the same way that it was a letdown. In the same way that it was a letdown for the fans, wouldn't it have been a letdown for the sport?
I don't mean it was really a letdown. It felt like, you know what I'm saying, like all the wind went out of their sails. They were like, oh, we got a death. Oh, Jesus, did you see him wreck? And then they're like, he's going to be fine, guys.
Well, the way you make it sound is like they were excited for it to happen.
They were excited to have witnessed it.
They thought... We just witnessed history. I was there when Dale Earnhardt died, and now I'm here when Ryan Newman died. And they were like, all right, he's fine. And everybody just kind of was like, well, shit, what was I watching for? Like, I just spent all this energy, and he's fine. If I wanted to watch Survivor, I would have went to my DVR.
Do you think more people are going to tune in now than they would have if this wreck never happened?
I don't think they get any more views from just a wreck.
I think we're going to have to pay attention to the ratings.
We will.
I think more people are going to tune in because of it.
A better strategy, since Ron thinks NASCAR's out here just killing people. 20 years, get Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the track, kill him. Two Dale Earnhardts.
No, he had to retire. He had to retire because he tried to kill himself every race he was in.
Well, that's true, but they're going to bring him back for this one. I mean,
right? Don't you? I thought you were like the biggest Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan in the world.
Get the hell out of here! You know I don't like Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I mean, isn't he like
that big picture of Jeff Gordon on his bedroom wall?
Isn't he the best racer since his dad?
No, he's worse.
Nah, come on, man. Like, why would you even think that?
He's not even in the top 5 most wins of all time of drivers who have never won a championship. He's not even on the top of that list.
All right.
Where, tell me where, help me wrap my mind around this. Where did we get so much Dale Earnhardt Jr. appreciation?
When's that done?
We didn't do anything.
I just say
Eliminator's son, boy.
It's intimidating.
yeah, the intimidator.
The Eliminator's son.
Eliminator. Well,
That's the point. God dang it. I can't take anything with y'all.
Listen.
Man, I don't know the names of roller coasters at Carowinds.
Actually, we probably should introduce who's on the podcast.
I just can't even make a joke.
We should probably introduce who's on the podcast because the listeners actually have no clue who this is.
I like it like this.
The mystery man.
No, the people deserve to know who you are. This is Sir Nicholas of Gullyshare, isn't that what it is?
Spring from the Englishman Nick Robinson from Spring Gully.
I mean, listen, for granted, he just found out he's related to a knight.
That's right.
That's true. But now I'm trying to be quiet because I tried to make a joke about the Eliminator. Seems we talked about him killing himself repeatedly. And y'all, the Intimidator? Out here.
All right.
Maybe that's sports.
This is off the rails. Wait a minute. Bring it in.
All right, so Ryan Newman gets in the wreck, and it was it was terrible. Like I think we can all agree, it was one of the worst wrecks I've ever seen.
It was hard to watch. It made me cringe.
It was worse than the Dale Senior wreck.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. Dale Earnhart Sr. just died from it was just lack of the safety equipment back then. I mean,
he was old too, wasn't he?
His now,
he just wasn't strapped in like he was supposed to.
Yeah, like his.
They didn't have the Hans device. I think that's what it's called.
The safety now is the wreck that he got in 2001 happens all the time now. Do you remember? I am stuttering. Do you remember Carl Edwards' crash?
I don't remember that.
He was.
Isn't Carl Edwards the guy who does like the backflips when he wins a race?
Yeah.
That's him? Okay.
Daytona 1 year, and this was after all the safety devices. If he wasn't dead, we should have known Ryan Newman was going to be fine. If you're listening to this, go back and watch the Carl Edwards wreck. He gets turned around, and the wind catches those back flaps that are supposed to slow you down. But going 200 miles an hour, it lifts his car up into the air, and it threw him into the fence, the chain link fence over the wall.
I remember that.
And it threw the engine of the car into the crowd, cut the front of the car off. That is the worst wreck I think I've seen. And he was fine.
I forgot about that wreck, and it was pretty bad because then the engine almost hit a fan or something. And
it injured a few people in the crowd.
And it made, I think it made NASCAR take more safety precautions for the it's not netting, the fencing.
I think they moved seats back or something.
Probably. Dale Earnhardt Sr. was 49 when he died. And so, he was a pretty old guy. So I guess, that type of impact, it was definitely been catastrophic. I think the issue with the Ryan Newman one was how cautious they were to keep fans from seeing anything. And I think that's what really added fuel to the fire with it. Because they brought out these black netting things.
That was the point that everybody made was like when Earnhardt wrecked, he died on impact. Like everybody on the scene that was there getting him out of the car knew, I think, if I remember right, I think he died on impact. Like he was dead when they got him out of the car. So they were really keeping it under wraps until they get him to the hospital, tell everybody that needed to know before they released it to the fans. And it's as secret as this was, you get him out, you cover it all up. I think they made the fans near where the wreck happened back off. I think the secrecy of it, not really secrecy, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They they made him. That really was like.
Brett, I don't know why you're laughing, man. This is not funny at all.
Man.
We're talking about a guy's life here, and you're just joking around.
You didn't just hear that ridiculous noise that just came out of my inside?
Yeah, it was like a noise where you were trying to hide the fact that you thought this was hilarious.
Well, no, that tragedy go hand in hand. The two oldest arts.
I guess you are the comic, Brett, so you would know.
Anyway.
I think another thing that adds to it is the guy who's the spotter was radioing in to Ryan Newman, was like, "Hey buddy, you all right? Hey, talk to me when you can." And there was silence on the radio, and I think that also added to it. And then we can't understate the role that Jeff Gordon played in making this seem like the guy was dead. He goes from like talking normal to a low roll, and man, this is the worst thing I've seen since Dale Earnhardt. And I think he sold it better than anyone. Now, he could have been genuine, and I imagine he was genuine in his concern.
It's a horrible looking wreck.
Yeah, definitely
terrible.
But people were just. It's crazy when you look at how just people were selling this. And there was no chance for the guy. The one radio cast I was listening to, they were talking about how since Ryan Newman's a bigger NASCAR driver, he's like over 250 pounds, that added to the difficulty for taking him out of the car. And now there was some mystery liquid too that was pouring out over the fire, and no one knows what it is. No one's come out and said it. It was not. They said it wasn't gasoline or oil, but man, that thing was pouring out, and it was a clear liquid. But realistically, you could have seen the whole thing blow up right there. And that added to a lot of it as well. So, I don't know, man. Horrific crash. Great for ratings. bad for the fans, you know, the ones who are true fans.
Right.
People who aren't really true fans coming out and saying, "Oh no, please, I hope he's better. I hope he's okay." And it really actually annoys me when stuff like that happens, because you have all these people who act like they're fans, but probably haven't watched a NASCAR race in 10 years,
Right.
or maybe hadn't seen one since their last family reunion, coming out of the woodworks, acting like they care about the sport. Listen, at least I'll tell you, I care nothing about the sport anymore.
Mhm.
Like, it was ruined for me
either.
growing up.
But glad he's fine. Yeah, I saw a picture of him leaving the hospital, standing up, walking out with his daughters.
But no shoes on.
Hey,
that irritated me. Like, I mean, I get you got money and you don't need to walk around because you're not going to get ringworm like the rest of us underlings, but...
He was just in a horrific crash. Let the man... socks and outdoors, let him do his thing.
Yeah, but I am glad that he isn't hurt. I make a lot of jokes about the sport and because I could care less about it, but man, you know, you lose one celebrity in Kobe Bryant, which destroyed the world pretty much, and then a few weeks later you have that happen, and it just kind of blows your mind. He's like, man, could this really happen again? And then in a place where it's so public, which is, I think, the craziest thing about the sport. So let's move to football. Let's talk about the big news. There's one less free agent quarterback out there. And we talked about it last week, and I was wrong. You were right. And that pains me to say because I love to be right. But it seemed like you knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, when we recorded last weekend, he was still a free agent. It took us a little while to edit and get it out. And by the time we got it out, I think maybe he had found home again with the Saints.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird listening to it, thinking, free agent anymore? What are they talking about? But now we can go back and we can say Drew Brees is back with the Saints. That was, I think. I mean, I know they have what's the guy's name that played in the playoffs and did so good?
They've got Taysom Hill. And they had Teddy Bridgewater who got them to the playoffs.
Yeah, which, I mean, I get that, but Drew Brees is still Drew Brees, I think. I mean, I think the smart play was to keep Drew Brees. You keep him until his career's over.
I'm going to disagree with you.
All right. You can.
Yeah, I know I can because I'm about to. Listen, Drew Brees won you a Super Bowl. I get it.
Yeah.
Big for the city after Hurricane Katrina happened. Brought, smiles to everyone's face. Made everyone feel super happy.
There's only a few figures in sports that gets love from their city like Drew Brees gets from New Orleans.
And I get that's probably why they brought him back. But he can't beat the Vikings in the playoffs. I mean, and now I know I'm a Minnesota fan, and the first one was a fluke, and it was Stephon Diggs going up, making the miracle catch, it being thrown by Case Keenum, and who I thought the Vikings actually should have kept because he was a system quarterback. But this year, they go in odds-on favorite to destroy the Vikings, and we dismantled them. I think it's time to move on from him. Now, listen, I get it. Drew Brees is a big name. You're risking losing Taysom Hill or Teddy Bridgewater or both because Taysom Hill just came out and said that I want to be a starting quarterback. I know I'm good enough to be one, and I'm going to be a starting quarterback. What do you do if you're the Saints? Are you going to try to give him a lot of money to stay as your backup? I mean, because you're going to I don't think you can do that. And I know, it's not a strong draft for me, quarterback-wise. Tua, broke up lower body.
R.I.P. Joe Burrow. I'll have him go to the Bengals probably.
Oh, but if you saw what he said, he's coming out talking like he's Eli Manning. He's going to try to force his way somewhere else.
See, I thought I saw that he said he would go if they drafted him. I thought he said he was going where
he said something like, I have control over my destiny or something like that.
What a smart guy, though. What a good decision, I think.
I mean,
what a good decision, I think.
If you don't want to go to the Bengals, which, once again,
Would you be excited about the Bengals drafting you?
I'd probably be more excited about the Browns draft.
Did you watch any Bengals football games this season?
No.
You got lucky.
I mean,
I did.
Why would you watch any Bengals games at all?
They were. I'm sure whoever they were playing is who I was watching. It wasn't. I didn't wake up on a Sunday, hop out of bed, and say the Bengals are playing on TV today. That's not.
Listen now. There are people who do that.
There's people. Oh God.
This makes me think about. Can you imagine?
If you are a Bengals fan right now, turn it off. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
If you're a fan from Ohio, please just leave.
Easy.
It's just
easy.
I mean, do we
just the Bengals?
The Browns?
They can stay.
I mean, I don't know, man.
It
makes me think of this question. I actually asked you about this earlier. We were eating some Mexican food. If you could take one NFL team and just eliminate it completely from the division,
I'm not saying.
Who are you taking away?
You know who? I'm not saying Bengals because. You know why? Because people remember they exist. And people remember they exist for one reason. There's Tiger helmets. Yeah. The orange and black striped helmets. People remember the Bengals. You know who I bet everybody in this room and everybody listening has forgot existed and I'm getting rid of?
Who?
The Tennessee Titans. They're a football team.
They made the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
They upset the New England Patriots. I mean,
that is the only reason anybody has ever had a thought.
If I'm getting rid of any NFL team, I'm getting rid of the Redskins.
That's a good point.
I don't think Washington D.C. deserves a team. I really don't. Their fans are terrible.
Yeah.
They turn on their own team.
Philadelphia is way worse than Washington D.C.
Can we just get rid of the Steelers or the Cowboys? They have the worst fans.
Hey, listen,
America's
team you're talking about.
They haven't been America's team in a coon's age.
Yeah. Bunch of criminals.
All right, so do you just want to eliminate the Steelers, the Redskins, and the Cowboys, and the Titans? Take away 4 teams completely?
Sure. And the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders haven't even got there yet.
They don't need a chance. They had how many years in Oakland?
And bring in Vince McMahon's big boys to fill it in, huh?
Listen. I think...
Panthers, too. The Panthers are trash.
I'm going on a limb here. The Las Vegas Raiders are going to sign Tom Brady. They're going to cut Carr or trade him.
Yeah, I think
that 100%. The city of Las Vegas is going to love their new team because they love their hockey team. And their hockey team actually was pretty successful.
The hockey team made a statement their first year. I don't know much about hockey, and I don't know what they did after their first year, but I know they came out big in their first year.
They've been pretty decent. But, with it being like a new expansion team, they got good players from other teams they didn't want. You got the goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury, who was on the Pittsburgh Penguins, actually. And he was the goaltender there, and they let him go because they had, I think it's Matt Murray is their current guy, but they were really high on Matt Murray, and Andre Fleury's contract was kind of big, so they let him go. Mm-hmm. And Fleury was magnificent for that Las Vegas team.
So that'd be accurate? They played Moneyball.
I guess, but they got some really bad contract people coming over, but they had names and such. But I don't know. You're taking the Oakland Raiders, you're putting them in Las Vegas, and it's pretty much the same team there. Mm. But you know what I did see this week that kind of upset me? They were talking about a potential landing spot for Stephon Diggs being the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you had Tom Brady throwing to Stephon Diggs, that would be like Drew Brees throwing to Michael Thomas.
Yeah, that's killer.
I don't want to lose Diggs. Apparently, there's a lot of drama around him in the locker room.
Yeah, well, there shouldn't be because didn't he say so? Isn't the drama that he doesn't like Kirk Cousins? That he said something about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
And if that's the drama, is he wrong?
But listen, you know my view on Kirk Cousins. I hate the guy. Terrible quarterback. We should have never signed him. But if you're an athlete, actually, you don't know this because you're the world's greatest t-ball player. So you've never actually played a real sport.
And don't you forget it.
Listen, I won't forget it.
Skilled, but it is a real sport.
Yeah.
Now, have you taken him down?
I mean, he has never taken a pitch from a pitcher in his life.
I don't need to.
Get it off the tee.
I don't need to.
Have you ever taken a pitch from a real pitcher?
I did a home run derby one year at the recreational center.
Playing 7 children isn't a big deal, Ron.
Let me tell you, one season of t-ball. I want you to take your little pen. Take a little paper. I want you to write this down.
I'm writing down right now.
You ready?
All right, go ahead.
Second year in T-ball, huh?
Yeah, second year.
82 home runs, 217 RBIs, 162 runs. Don't you forget it. The MVP. Before you bring me down, I was a star.
Yeah, but how old were you in a 4 to 6 league?
That's neither here nor there, Ron. I won't have you slather his name around town.
That's right.
It's a bunch of bullcrap. You wouldn't actually know. But
was he wrong for talking about Kirk Cousins?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. You've never played a real sport where you had to actually be involved with the team. You
You're not allowed to call a spade.
You are not allowed to call out your teammates when they suck. You've got to have their back. You're like the parent who's in the stands cheering on their baby boy or baby girl, thinking they're the best thing since Betty White and sliced bread.
Just delusional as they are, huh?
I mean, listen, you do what you do to keep face. Stephon Diggs, he went a little bit outside of that lane. I don't want to lose him. You've got to have two good receivers, really, to be competitive on offense. We have Adam Thielen. We have Stephon Diggs. I mean, outside of that, that's it. We have Kyle Rudolph, who some games gets 10 passes thrown his game, some his ways. Some games gets 2 passes. Great player, just no opportunity to flourish under that system because Kirk Cousins doesn't like to throw to his tight ends. But if the Raiders got Tom Brady, got Stephon Diggs, look out.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
On offense, who's going to stop them?
I mean, nobody. And it's especially looking at their division. I mean, nobody. It'll be the Raiders, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and Broncos. Right?
Yeah.
That's the division. The best chance of stopping them, I guess, is the Chargers. The Chargers have pretty decent defense.
Yeah, but their team sucks.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting to. The best chance of slowing down the offense is the Chargers because they had a decent defense. I guess the Chiefs had a decent defense, but it's not enough.
Well, the Chargers have Melvin Ingram, right? Phenomenal player. Watched him at University of South Carolina.
I feel like if you get Tom Brady, even just Tom Brady, I feel like it's the Raiders. It's the Raiders.
I think he's Tom Gruden's type of guy too. I think he would mesh well with Gruden.
John Gruden.
What's that?
I thought you said Tom Gruden.
No, I said John Gruden.
I said Tom.
I said John.
Time.
All right.
100% John. I'm not.
Oh, you remember when I was trying to make a joke and you shit all over me?
All right.
You know what, Nick? Stay over there and play on your little phone.
Wow, what a big man.
Oh, yeah.
You're no longer invited back on the podcast.
I don't know. I didn't want to bring this point up, but because y'all were talking about everything, but now there's such just dead confusion. Pittsburgh is just a shitty place in general. This should be the Steelers. We made steel. What else is their resume?
That's it. That is it. That is all they bring up. Steel. Well, what are we going to call? Our defense? The steel curtain.
I've dealt with Portuguese steel and American steel. American steel shit.
You know what? What is it too? I'll bring this up. What is it too? What has Pittsburgh got going? That everything they have to make has to be black and gold. The Penguins, the Pirates, the Steelers.
Because when you make steel, you get dirty, which is the black, and their products are solid gold, big.
Baby!
Hey, I guess that's it. All right, so we're going back to what we were talking about with football here.
Tom Brady.
100%.
John Brady.
Man, you guys suck. All right, John Gruden, Tom Brady. Listen. I do think that they're going to be a formidable team if that happens.
100%.
And I don't think the Chargers have any chance of stopping them because Phil Rivers is gone, right?
I want to see it so bad.
I mean, you want to see the Raiders good so bad, or you?
I want to see the Raiders.
I want to
see Tom Brady at the Raiders, and I want to see the Magic so bad.
I just want to see Tom Brady anywhere but New England.
Me too.
I think everyone wants that.
Me too.
Listen, I understand. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. We'll miss him when he's gone.
And for a while, I thought I would like. It's rare that you get to see a guy at one team anymore. It used to happen all the time before. before we were born. It used to happen. A guy played for a team. He played for a team. And I would like, for a while, I was on the train of thought that I would like to see Tom Brady finish out at the Patriots. But you know what? With everything that's happened, the 6 Super Bowls, everything that they've been through, how the last couple of seasons have ended, how it seems like the relationship in that organization is going, I would like to see him finish somewhere else for him. I don't think he's been treated the best way the last couple of years, and I think for him, I would like to see him finish out somewhere else and get the money that he deserves for being the quarterback that he has been for the last 20 years.
I mean, he's gotten the money from endorsements. Like, you go back, you look at Marshawn Lynch. There's a lot of interviews, Marshawn Lynch talking about how he never touched a single bit of his NFL salary. He lived off of endorsements. And that's what Tom Brady's doing. Yeah, he deserves probably $80 million a year just for what he's done, but
and it's not that he hasn't made. It's not that he hadn't made it. They hadn't gave him enough. It's not that he can't live off of it, or anything. It's the recognition of it. It's that he deserves that money. He's done so much for the Patriots, and now he's getting older. And I think if Belichick had it his way, he'd have been done with him. A year ago, he wouldn't have played last year. He'd been somewhere else. When they had Garoppolo, it was 2 years. He would have been gone if Belichick would have had it his way. And I think he has done enough in that organization that he deserves a little bit of slack. He deserves to have a down year and still get paid.
I don't even think he had a down year.
No, not at all.
I guess
people are acting like he did.
Yeah, because he didn't get to the Super Bowl because he's Tom freaking Brady and all he does is win Super Bowls. Listen, I'm not going to argue. The guy deserves to be paid.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know. And I hope he goes somewhere else to get it.
Yeah. I don't know if I particularly want to see him at the Raiders, but I mean, at least their fan base is rabid, which we don't know. They're going to Las Vegas now.
Yeah, now we don't know what it's going to look like.
Golly, can you imagine, what if Tom Brady just did a curveball and went to, Chicago? Think of that.
That team, besides Mitchell Trubisky,
that's a Super Bowl prepared team.
Stacked.
Yeah.
They are ready today. They were ready yesterday. They were ready all last season, minus, once again, Mitchell Trubisky. They were ready to win a Super Bowl. If Tom Brady goes there, he's got a shot at a 16-0 regular season. It's a good team. I mean,
so I think that team. I think even if you put someone like Jameis Winston on the Bears, I think they would win. Listen, that's a tough division. Your second favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, is in that division. Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. Unfortunately, quarterback by Kirk Cousins is in that division. Matthew Stafford and the Lions. Hey, that's one guy that never took a pay cut. No. Matthew Stafford, he made sure he got his money.
And you know what? He needed to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
He needed a pay cut for a long time. He's needed a pay cut.
But that team was so bad to watch without him.
Yeah.
When he went down with that back injury, which, hey, kudos to him because he wanted to play even with it. At risk of being paralyzed, he wanted to play the game. But that team without him was atrocious to watch because who else do they have?
Nobody.
I can't name a player.
That is the point of needing to take a pay cut. Sometimes it's good. And Tom Brady knew it. It wasn't like I feel like I made it sound earlier like they just shorted him. Like they were always just shorting, just nickeling down. He agreed to the pay cuts. He was like, I'd rather win a championship than be paid like the big quarterback, like people that are taking all the money and are on bad teams, like Matthew Stafford. But now that he's up in age and he's like, all right, I'd like to get a big paycheck. At the end of my career here, I'd like to make some money. I think he deserves it. But the quarterback, but you're right, Matthew Stafford, the quarterbacks that have made a living taking all that money and not having good teams, they should have taken a pay cut a long time ago, and maybe they could have been like him, or not like him because nobody's like him, but they could have had some winning seasons.
I mean, Tom Brady just played like 1 year, $23 million. I mean, that's a lot of money, Brett. Like, you looking at it like, I mean, the guy's been paid. I mean, I get not at the level as some of these other people who are nowhere near as elite as him.
Nowhere near as good making more money.
You're talking about a guy, though, Tom Brady, there's a car company that made a limited edition car run of 12 cars in honor of Tom Brady. I mean, this guy's got money out in the years.
Is he wrong for saying for 1 year, I want my boss to pay me what I'm worth?
He's not wrong. No, I can't argue that. But what is he really worth?
I still think a lot. I still think more than most people in the NFL. Maybe he's not any more worth Patrick Mahomes' money. Maybe he's not any more worth. He's not worth any more. I think Patrick Mahomes is the only person that maybe deserves more money than he does.
Highest paid players at the quarterback position last year. All right, Russell Wilson, $35 million a year.
Okay.
Ben Roethlisberger, $34 million a year. Aaron Rodgers, $33.5 million. Carson Wentz, $32 million. Matt Ryan, $30 million. Kirk Cousins, $28 million. Screw you, Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Garoppolo, $27.5 million. Matthew Stafford, $27 million. Derek Carr, $25 million. Andrew Luck, who retired, $24.6 million. Alex Smith of the Redskins, $23.5 million. So that's 2018, I believe this was. And those
two quarterbacks on that list. Two quarterbacks that I could, in good conscience, maybe put above Tom Brady.
All right, so let me guess them. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I mean, I would agree.
Maybe.
So I think Tom Brady definitely deserves to be over Carson Wentz, at least in the 4 spot there.
Yeah.
$32 million for Carson Wentz is atrociously stupid. Matt Ryan at $30 million, atrociously stupid. Kirk Cousins at $28 million. Give that guy $5 million. That's about.
And I always thought Matt Ryan was going to be great. I always thought.
Did you really?
I always thought he's gonna turn into something. But
he's had weapons.
And like he never,
Roddy White.
There was, for some reason, whatever it was about him, he never reached. He never went another level. He was always.
He's not elite.
He was always just all right, but you could see elite in him from time to time, and you're like, he's got it in him. And I thought one of these days he was going to make that transition. He was going to turn it on. He never did, and I don't know what happened.
He's not elite. He's above average, but not elite.
It frustrates me when you see flashes of what somebody could do, and they never do it. And me and you have seen it calling the football games for the team. We see it. We see flashes of what the team could be, and they never do hit that next level. And you're like, man, it seems like they're missing one piece. It seems like they're missing one thing, and they never do find it. And it kills me every time.
Here you go. A number I saw kind of crazy on there. Think about this. Do you think Tom Brady deserves more per year than Khalil Mack? Khalil Mack of the Bears, $23.5 million a year.
I mean,
do you value offense over defense or defense over offense?
I mean, it depends. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say, I guess. But I mean, I feel like you have to value offense over defense. I feel like
listen to this. If you actually say Tom Brady deserves more than $23.5 million a year.
But Khalil Mack is elite.
Yeah, but get this. If you said $23.5 million a year, Tom Brady deserves at least that. That puts him number 12 on the highest paid players list.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous to me.
And there's a bunch of quarterbacks above him. Alex Smith was above him at that way. Andrew Luck.
It's ridiculous to me that there's 12 people above him.
Hey, Drew Brees is another guy that's been taking pay cuts, man.
Yeah.
He's only $25 million a year. That's a steal for Drew Brees. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I look at those things and it's pretty it's pretty unique. The whole landscape of the NFL and how things like that are decided, to me, kind of blows my mind. I do think Tom Brady is going to be somewhere else next year. I'm really leaning towards believing it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. But, hey, I was wrong about Drew Brees. Tom Brady might be back with the New England Patriots at a better deal than he had before, and Robert Kraft might try to save face and might try to bring him back and say, hey, we did right by Tom Brady because he did right by us. So,
did you watch any we're going to change gears for a minute. I got a question for you. Did you watch any college baseball yesterday?
No. Because unlike you, I have a real job where I have to teach every day.
All those games start after school. What is this prick talking
He's
about?
just trying to look big.
Oh, yeah, listen at him.
People.
Anyway,
Hey,
all the games started at 4. And I think around ESPN, there's no major networks that cover college baseball as much as I would like because I love baseball. So we're going to do that here. We're going to give you baseball. All right?
We'll give them baseball because I don't know how many people actually care about college baseball, but at least you do.
I'm going to give
it to them.
Well, if you're a baseball fan, I'll give you a name.
All right, force feed it to them.
Christian Chamberlain.
Who is that?
Pitcher for Oregon State.
They
went up against number 6 Mississippi State. He pitched 5 1/3 innings, and he struck out 12 batters. Killed them. And they lost 6-2.
How great of a pitcher can he really be then?
Ridiculous. They did a good job. Mississippi State did a good job because he's dealing. He was almost unhittable. But they were able to get in. They were able to get in battles, force him into battles. They drew a couple walks, and they were able to run that pitch count up. And he was up around triple digits in 5 1/3 innings. So he had to go out. Mississippi State got into the bullpen. The bullpen looked strong.
Yeah.
Up until the 8th inning. I think going into the 8th inning, the Bulldogs had struck out, I believe, 15 times, 15 times going into the 8th inning, which is absurd. And you're thinking, all right, Oregon State's got this one 2-0. They have got the hits when it mattered. They've put some runs across the plate. And their pitching looks unbeatable. Going into the 8th inning, you get a single to start bottom of the 8th.
Okay.
You're thinking, all right, that's not bad. Then, next guy, doubles. Man on second and third. Nobody out. Pitching, next guy comes up to plate, draws a walk, bases loaded, no outs. They switch pitchers. Another hit. Ties it up 2-2. They go on to score 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning after Oregon State being dominant all day long. You get to the end of the game, and Mississippi State does it, and that worries me because Mississippi State's an SEC team. They're in the top 10. Oregon State is ranked 23. And that shows me that even when you're having a bad day, even when you're cold, because baseball is just a game of stretches. You know, like basketball, in a game, you go on a run. It's a game of runs. You go on cold runs. You get on hot, 12-1 run. Baseball over a long season is a game of going on runs. You get hot, you get cold, and what makes a good team is when they go cold is for a shorter period of time. They don't go cold long. There's good stretches. You know where I'm going.
Yeah, I know.
It shows me that Mississippi State can be cold and still find a way to win. That tells me they're really good.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a sign of a good team in any sport. Because, you're going to have cold stretches for any professional sport, any high school sport. And they have the ability to come back and to play through that adversity.
Like, even when you're having a bad day, it's like, we're going to be all right. We're going to figure this out. And that was South Carolina's problem last year.
Yeah.
And coming into a game against Northwestern that you feel like they should win, you started to see, I told you last weekend I'm worried about them saw a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah.
Last night, they come in, Friday night, they come into a game, a Northwestern game, 4-0, looking good all year, fixing the things that you saw from them last year that plagued them.
And beating teams that they should beat.
Right. You come in, they've been really good. You're like, all right, looks like they've got some of the problems fixed. Coach Mark Kingston says last year was a fluke. We're going to show everybody that. They're off to a hot start. But you got to get cold sometime.
Yeah.
They were cold last night.
But the temperature was also cold.
Yeah, the temperature was also cold. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Can't win games like that.
Loses baseball games. And the weather, now, they still had an opportunity to win. The weather destroyed them last night because going into, I believe, once again, bottom of the 8th inning, another very close game, another very good game. We go into the bottom of the 8th, tied 1-1. Carolina put up an early run. Northwestern put up one, I think around, right around mid-game, tied it up. It stayed tied the rest of the time, pitching to them. Andrew Eister, South Carolina's best hitter, comes to the plate, and the wind is blowing straight in right at home plate, straight in from center field. And it's cold. Baseball doesn't travel as good. He smashes a ball as hard as you can hit one to straightaway center. And it gets caught at the wall. And then the next guy, for some reason, they're playing shallow. The next guy comes up, 1 out, nobody on. They're playing shallow. He smokes one again. And you're thinking over the guy's head because he was playing shallow. Once again, the wind holds it up. The guy's able to get, a center fielder is able to get under it. The weather killed him in the bottom of the 8th inning, but that should never be an excuse. You got to get the job done in the conditions and before you absolutely need to agree or disagree.
So here's what I'm going to say about that. If you're the best hitter on the team, the wind's blowing in. Obviously, you know it. You can feel it physically. You can see the flags blowing in. Don't you change your hitting style to try to get on base versus try to tattoo it out the park when you know that odds are it's not going to carry that far?
Baseball being my favorite sport, I've never, I've never stood in that box, never taken a pitch, never. But I can tell you, thinking if I get a pitch that doesn't trick me like that, it just looks beautiful. I got it figured out. It is going to be tough to not try to put it over the wall. It is going to be tough not to test it out. And he put a beautiful swing on it. He tested it out, and he hit it right on the button. And I get what you're saying.
I get
what you're saying, but it would be tough for me to decide not to put a swing on it.
Maybe it's just me being a small ball type.
I love small ball.
Like, I just want to see the base runners get on, steal bases, make timely hits. I mean, home runs are exciting and cool to see, but, man, when you're in a position where you're tied and you need to find a way to manufacture runs, I don't think going for the home run ball is the way to do it. I think that you take what the pitchers give you, turn on the ball, hit it in the opposite field, hit a few line drives, try to get the ball on the ground earlier and just play that way.
See, I'm only thinking like that when I'm down a run. When I'm down a run or more, I'm thinking we got to get a guy on base, we got to play some small ball, and we got to at least tie it up. But if we're tied, and my guy who, when he came to the plate, he was hitting right around 340 so far this season. He's got 2 home runs. He's got 6 RBIs. He's my guy. He's my cleanup hitter. We're tied. He can put us in the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning with one good swing. I think I'm letting him swing. I think I am letting him try to put it over the wall.
I get that. I do understand the idea behind it being tied.
Especially with no outs.
Yeah, and I guess theoretically at that point you have nothing to lose when you're doing it. But once again, I'm a small ball type player. I want to see that happen.
Well, we ended up going to the 9th inning, went to the 10th, and in 10, Northwestern put 4 runs across and South Carolina lost 5-2. So maybe the small ball would have helped out because they ended up getting taken deep and losing a game they probably should have won. And if anybody's wondering, don't you worry about it. They came back today, and last I looked, they were up in the 8th inning 12-3. So getting it done today. Bouncing back today after a bad day. You're going to have a bad day in baseball. But don't worry, South Carolina baseball fans. They bounced back, and they are looking big today.
So I actually want to shift gears a little bit.
Do it.
Did you watch any college basketball this week?
I didn't, but I saw a big score today. Are we talking about today or are we talking about this week?
I'm talking about this week.
All right, give it to me.
Because let me tell you, I watched this Duke versus NC State game. And let me tell you, Duke is one of the best teams in the nation, right? They were ranked in the top 10.
The worst.
Well, I mean, their fans are terrible. But for a basketball team,
Duke Cowboys.
they are phenomenal.
The Dallas Blue Devils.
The Dallas Blue Devils. I love it. But let's just be real here. One of the better teams in the nation in college basketball came out and laid an egg.
Oh!
NC State won the game 88-66.
Yeah.
All right, let me give you some lines, right?
Yep.
32 of 71, that's 45.1% field goal percentage, 8 of 13 three-pointers. Duke shot 4 of 17 for 3 points. And the highlight of this game for me, going towards the end of the first half of the game, NC State player pulls up a half-court shot and nails it at the buzzer to extend their lead. And, Coach K came out like at the end of the game, was talking about it, and it's like, the team we played against wanted it. We came out acting like we had already earned the win. We weren't on the top of their game. And listen, you watch that game, top to bottom, NC State just dominated them.
Good.
Every time Duke tried to get something going, NC State would just come back, shoot a three, go up bigger.
That makes me happier than it probably should, but good. Good.
NC State had 36 defensive rebounds, 15 offensive rebounds, 10 assists, 7 steals. They got beat on the blocks 5-3. Duke had 5, but they only had 10 turnovers, and they still committed 20 fouls. But at one point, the largest lead of the game was 27 points, and that was the furthest Duke had been down the whole year. Now, I've been getting an appreciation for the game of basketball. Working at the high school, I've done the starting lineups for our high school team. It's exciting. People really get into it. So it's kind of helped me gain a better understanding of the sport. This game was played at NC State. They stormed the court after. Everybody was excited. They were totally engaged in the game, and it brought joy to my soul seeing Duke lose.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
It always does that to me when Duke basketball goes down. Always.
And that was a big score today, right?
Man. Kansas and Baylor got it on.
Now, Kansas, are they ranked? They're ranked number 3 in the nation, are they? So this isn't like a scrub upset.
This is 2 top teams, 2 arguably the best teams in the country. I have thought all year Baylor was the clear number 1. I think they're going to get a national championship. They are going to get it done. But this is 2 big teams getting it on. And if I can go to the scores right now, Kansas number 3 over the number 1 Baylor Bears 64-61 at Baylor. Kansas went into Baylor and got a win. That, I think, is big and says a lot about Kansas, who improves a record now of 24-3. Baylor at 24-2. I think that sets the clear message that those 2 are the best 2 teams in the country.
Yeah, and you might see them come down to play in the national championship, depending on how the brackets line up. But usually it's set up to where the best teams will play each other in the end.
Both being in the Big 12, that may be tough to happen.
Well, I think in basketball, it's the way they arrange it is totally different. It's based upon the actual best schools, no matter what conference they're in.
I got you.
So they actually would be separated.
That would be fun.
And
that would be fun.
Yeah, a game like that type of excitement.
Because you're right. They both will be number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
You're right. They may be on the same side of the bracket, maybe, but yeah, they would both be number 1 seeds, so they at least wouldn't meet until the Elite Eight.
Yeah, and then at that point, you're still in exciting territory. South Carolina had a tough loss this week too. Lost by 3 points to Mississippi State, and that's a tough place to play in. I believe we typically do struggle at Mississippi State.
And they just look like a better team in that game too.
Yeah, but Mike Kotsar was going off. I think he had out of the first 18 points, I believe he had 15 of the first 18 points for the Gamecocks. Yeah. But one person can't do it alone. This team dumbfounds me in a lot of ways because there's a lot of talent. A.J. Lawson, Mike Kotsar, and A.J. Lawson is the most inconsistent player I've seen on our team starting lineup for a long time. You know, like you slide in some former players we've had there. You know, like imagine if South Carolina still had Chris Silva.
Yeah.
If they still had a couple of these guys who are actually on NBA rosters.
Yeah. Then a couple of these games swing the other way, and we're looking at. I think really that loss hurt South Carolina, but I don't know if it did a lot for Mississippi State because it was at home for Mississippi State. When it showed the where the brackets were looking, Mississippi State was in the first 4 out.
Yeah.
And South Carolina was in the next 4 out. So this hurt. This loss hurt.
Yeah.
Because you are about 7 or 8 spots away from being in the tournament, and then you lose to a team that's only 2 or 3 spots away from being in the tournament.
Yeah.
That looks bad.
Yeah, and I think that South Carolina needs to go on a run here, which they were on a
They got to have an SEC tournament.
Yeah, they were on a 3-game win streak. They need to win 5 out of their 6 last games, and then they need to make a splash in the SEC tournament. They need to go out and win it, or they need to get a 2nd or 3rd place. But beyond 3rd place, I think we're out of the tournament. Yeah. And at that point, you're looking at hopefully going to the NIT, but no one really wants to be in the NIT. That stands for not in the tournament.
Yeah, that's
champion, right? The NIT champion.
I'm going to the NIT.
Now, I will say, when I was a freshman at the University of South Carolina, Carolina hosted an NIT game. Do you know who the opposing player was who came in for the Davidson team that South Carolina played?
Who?
Steph Curry. So I got to watch Steph Curry in the NIT game.
All right.
Come out and destroy South Carolina.
All right. So I bet that's the only time that an NIT game is fun, when there's a guy that you think is going to be big in the NBA play, and you're like, I'm going to go watch an NIT game.
I don't even think everyone thought Steph Curry was really going to be big.
Was he unheard of?
Yeah, I don't know if he was unheard of, but I don't think people thought he was going to have the splash he did when he got it.
Yeah, that's hard to predict, though. A splash like that is hard to.
So I think that makes it better when you go back and look at it, in the future. You're like, man, I watched Steph Curry play when he was in college in Davidson. That was pretty
cool.
That's and I got to see, I transferred after that to Charleston Southern, and I got to see his brother Seth Curry at the Liberty Flames come to Charleston Southern and play basketball. And Seth Curry, he's nowhere near as good as Steph. But,
all right, Ron Curry.
But yeah, it's kind of cool when you think about going to see some of these people play and such. So, Brett, I think that really pretty much wraps up the time we have today.
I think so, ladies and gentlemen. We've hit NASCAR. We got some football in. Got a little bit of baseball in. Got some college basketball. Next week we're going to bring you some of those 4, maybe more.
More.
I hope you had fun with this. We are here recording Saturday, February 22nd. We're going to hope to have this out to you by Monday, the 24th. And this week I got no open mics. Where we usually do Bourbon Street is they have an off week, so that's not going to be happening this week. Like us on Facebook. We're going to have a Facebook page very soon, Walrus and The Comic. And
we're going to work towards getting to Instagram as well, where we're going to try to put up some different video clips so people can see this in action. And so we got a lot of things that are coming towards the people. We appreciate anyone who listened in to episode 1.
We're working.
We're working hard to provide you guys with content that's really good. And we would love any comments that you have. You want to recommend us talk about something. We'll go out of our way, especially this early on, to go talk about something. I'd love to sneak in a little episode for people talking about like wrestling, Brett.
We can do it,
we
man.
could really get something good, and maybe that's some extra content we can give the people coming up soon, and just kind of do. I know this is more we're talking about like things that are happening throughout the week, but I would love just to focus one episode on just talking about the state of the WWE or the wars between AEW.
Because you know I can get angry in that episode.
I know you can.
You know I get angry. You know how I feel.
And you know how I feel about the WWE because I love it. But, folks, stay tuned for that. It's going to come your way. Once again, thank you for listening to the Walrus and the Comic podcast sports report. And we're going to see you next time.
And keep in touch. Follow us on social media for updates. And we'll see you next week.
Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. The Walrus and the Comic.